Tom Aspinall. I didn't read it. I told you guys already. We'll get Aspinall versus Jones done. John Jones versus the heavyweight fight will happen. Just relax. I'll announce that soon.
Tom Aspinall plans to make up for lost time. The English heavyweight has been in limbo for nearly a year, waiting for John Jones to give him the go-ahead for what should have been a historic fight for the undisputed UFC heavyweight title. That wait ended suddenly. Jones retired. The lengthy shadow of a super fight evaporated overnight, as Aspinall was eventually elevated from interim to full UFC heavyweight champion.
What would it take to fight Tom Aspinall from the UFC? Like, what does the UFC got to do?
Said something real wild on off the cuff. I'll see you guys later.
That's it.
Yeah,
right.
Thanks for the happy
John
beer.
Jones, the legend.
Yeah.
But now the situation has turned again. John Jones, who looked to have retired from the sport, has returned to the USADA urine testing pool. The reason is a possibly historic UFC event set to take place at the White House on July 4th, 2026, to commemorate America's 150th anniversary of independence. Dana White has claimed that Jones was offered and accepted the fight with Aspinall prior to his untimely retirement, and in the clearest sign yet that Jones is back in the game. He isn't just returning, he's aiming for the biggest platform possible.
I don't know, did you see his series of tweets over the last few days inferring that basically he told you guys that he was retired last November and that your efforts to make the Aspinall fight were basically futile?
It's not true.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you wanted to ask me?
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. But what do you make of him coming out and saying saying contrary to what you've said there?
I don't know. I'm telling you the truth.
Aspinall isn't timid. According to sources close to the champion, he has agreed to the fight as long as it is official. And now that Jones has publicly resumed testing, the ball is rolling again if all goes as planned. John Jones will be Tom Aspinall's first opponent at the UFC's famous White House event. The stress surrounding this fight is about more than just the heavyweights. It is about all they stand for.
And as much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against John Jones. I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against John Jones. I've been watching John Jones, as I say, since 2010.
For more than a year, the UFC and its fans have been waiting to see Jones protect his heavyweight title. Jones disappeared from active competition after defeating Cyril Gane in under 3 minutes in March 2023 due to injury, surgeries, and ultimate retirement. Meanwhile, Aspinall dominated the division, ending in a savage first-round knockout of Sergey Pavlovich at UFC 195 in New York. That victory won him the interim title and lighted a flame in the heavyweight division. But the title wouldn't be complete without beating Jones, who is still officially the owner of the original.
You know, that's the hard thing about giving opinions on this, because it's just opinions. Like, we don't know the facts of what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what's been said from John's side or Aspinall's side, and you know, I do give Aspinall the benefit of the doubt, believing that, you know, if he didn't think the John Jones fight was going to happen, like, he probably would have taken another fight. You know, where we're comparing it with the Chandler situation. You know, it felt to me, you know, I was
Now it appears that elusive showdown may finally materialize, but in the most strange and symbolic venue the sport has ever seen. The White House lawn. The notion, allegedly proposed by former President Donald Trump, has sent shock waves across the fight world. Trump, a lifelong UFC fan and Hall of Fame inductee, is rumored to be planning a big UFC event at the White House on July 4th, 2026, during the country's semi-quincentennial celebrations. It is not just a trick.
Have special events in honor of America 250, and I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events. The UFC fight's going to be...
White has confirmed that arrangements are underway and warriors are already lining up to participate. Conor McGregor has publicly promised to fight at the event. but nothing compares to the spectacle of Jones versus Aspinall. Two titans eventually meet beneath the sky in front of the Capitol.
Imposing an International Fight Week deadline. Right here and now, I'm imposing this deadline. By the way, they announced that they're going to do a press conference tour for Canelo Crawford, and one of the stops is June 27th, the day before Ilya versus Charles, International Fight Week, 317. I'm imposing an International Fight Week deadline. An announcement must be made. A decision must be made. That's when the eyes of the MMA world are on the UFC.
Aspinall has quietly prepared for this time. While Jones was absent, Aspinall stayed disciplined, loud, and prepared. With the world watching, he's determined to defend his unchallenged rule, starting with Jones. If the UFC makes it public, even as he accepts the challenge, Aspinall does not plan to stop there. With the monkey off his back, he is going on with an ambitious timetable. Aspinall made his objectives clear during his one-on-one with Adam Catterall.
John Jones just got up and left after this Nelk interview. This has to be a joke. Surely Dana is going to have to strip John Jones, because this can't keep happening. Like, you're the heavyweight champion, it's your job to defend the belt. And if you don't want to defend it, then retire. It's so strange to me. It's strange how the UFC keeps defending him. He's still the heavyweight champion but won't fight. And what is he expecting by going on all of these media tours when people bring up...
I'd like to fight for times in the following 12 months, he added. I'm not sure how realistic that is. First, there are fewer of us. If you look at the top 10, I've beaten 6 of them. My goal is to beat 10 of the top 10. I want to beat all 10. That isn't just chatter, it's a plan. He's previously handled Sergey Pavlovich, Marcin Tybura, Alexander Volkanovski, and others. Aspinall has yet to meet 4 of the current top 10 fighters. Cyril Gane #1. Jailton Almeida, Waldo Cortez Acosta, and Derek Lewis. One of those names, most likely Gane, is slated to headline a card against Aspinall before the year is up. I now have a fight that I can announce, Aspinall stated during the same interview. But at least we've set a date. We have an opponent to work with, and I can finally resume my job.
I have never seen a fight that we've wanted that we've then been denied. No different than the girl at school that you're chasing and she's telling you no. Lose steam. This fight is a smaller fight now than it was 3 months ago. Aspinall versus Jones, which, by the way, I don't maintain for that it could be resurrected one press conference or one Instagram live by Dana. I'm just sharing for you right now. Jones and Aspinall was not only hotter 3 months ago, it was hotter than that 5 months.
Aspinall's focus has clearly moved into 5th gear. After navigating idleness and contract limbo in 2023, he's eager to keep active, generate money, and establish his legacy. The timing is tight. He wants 3 to 4 fights between now and the end of 2026. The White House bout, with John Jones as the headliner, would be a great start to that run.
But something I want to talk about, guys, we're going to talk about this for a little bit. I got some notes, and that's the heavyweight division, because I figured it's a good time to talk about it. With all the John Jones stuff going around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think, personally, Tom Aspinall really needs to mentally get rid of John Jones. No more thinking about him. He's gone. You're champ, right? Because I strongly believe right now, Tom Aspinall can go on a long win streak, on a tear. He can go on a tear.
Cyril Gane is the frontrunner for Aspinall's next fight before any White House preparations are decided. Despite his contentious win over Alexander Volkanovski, Gane is the highest-ranked potential candidate with some name recognition. Almost the whole MMA media questioned the fight, which was won by a split vote. 19 out of 20 members chose for Volkanovski, but the judges disagreed. Gane is back in the mix, despite criticism for his lack of urgency and wrestling defense in earlier appearances. If he is paired with Aspinall, it could be a very short night.
But what did you make of it when you heard John calling out Alex of all people?
You know, I think he does do this because, you know, Alex Perez now he's like big star in the UFC, you know, everybody loves him, so he know what he's doing, you know, but I believe he should to fight against Aspinall, but I think he a little bit afraid of him, you know, because Aspinall is someone who can really stop him and beat him.
Yeah,
I mean, he believe, but that's what I think, that he believes if he can.
But the truth is that everything goes back to John Jones. As soon as Jones returned to the drug testing pool, the story changed. Jones does not take things lightly. If he's back in the water, that means he's training. He has agreed to the terms and is waiting for the UFC to accept them, according to Dana White. The Jones-Aspinall battle had already been agreed upon when Jones suddenly withdrew, and the offer was not unclear. "We had a fight. He accepted," White told reporters. Then he changed his mind. Fans assumed that Jones opted out to protect his legacy. A loss to Aspinall would tarnish an otherwise perfect record. However, with the next White House event, the stakes have changed. It is no longer merely a fight, it is a sign. The White House cage could be the most spectacular setting in UFC history, and Jones, the consummate showman, may see it as the final swan song or legacy-defining act.
But it's the legacy. To be able to go to the heavyweight division, take out everyone, and then take out the John Jones legend, you know, and then go back to even beating a few of these new school guys, will literally put Tom Aspinall as the GOAT of the heavyweight division.
Aspinall, for his part, is not worried. He has frequently mentioned that he respects Jones but is not in awe of him, and stylistically, it is an intriguing clash. Aspinall's movement, hand quickness, and grappling skills make him one of the most complete heavyweights we've seen in years. Jones, despite his age and reduced activity, remains the most decorated fighter in history. Fans are aware that their styles will clash in all the right ways at this point. The battle for the White House is not a fantasy. This is a likely situation. All sides are in motion. Trump's staff is favoring logistics. Jones is back in the pool. And Aspinall has officially supported the plan. He has a list of leftover contestants to eliminate. But Jones is now first in line if the UFC can make it across the finish line.
There's one guy who could mimic a John Jones on the feet. It's Rieker Verhoeven.
He's going to wipe the floor. He's going to wipe the floor with John Jones.
You believe
John Jones 100%. Doesn't have a chance versus Tom Aspinall. Mark my words. Tom Aspinall is a freaking monster.
I love it.
On his feet and on the ground. So, and I truly believe that John Jones has never faced somebody that is that good.
Until then, the heavyweight class is once again active. Aspinall is prepared to fight. Jones looks to be ready to return. And preparations are on for the most important arena in the sport's history. Aspinall has taken the fight. Jones has accepted the fight. All that remains is the contract. If the UFC can put pen to paper. On July 4th, 2026, the world will watch an unprecedented event. A heavyweight title fight on the White House lawn puts Tom Aspinall against John Jones. Not in Las Vegas or Madison Square Garden, but in Washington, D.C. Beneath the flames and in front of history.
That would be beyond disappointing, actually. From a marketing standpoint, from a landscape of where the UFC is standpoint, that would be a complete pay-per-view disaster.
We'd see the strength of the UFC brand at Madison Square Garden if that ends up being, because all respect to Tom, but he has never headlined a pay-per-view, so plopping him at the top of Madison Square Garden against Cyril Gane, I think would be tough, but we'll see what they can do.
Man, that would be tough. I mean, you'd have to have that under.
John Jones versus Tom Aspinall is no longer merely a fight. It's the MMA World's heavyweight meeting, and it'll take place at the White House next year. The rumors are over. There is no more room for speculation now that John Jones has returned to the USADA testing pool. And Dana White has stated that the fight will take place. In a twist of poetic justice, Tom Aspinall, the man Jones appears to have quit to escape, is now the final boss, kicking off the most memorable UFC event ever created. While the fight is now set for 2026, the aftermath from Jones' initial choice to walk away is still causing shockwaves throughout the sport. No one has been more vocal about it than Daniel Cormier, who, even in retirement, continues to fight psychological warfare against his old adversary. Cormier didn't hold back on the Pound for Pound podcast when asked how he sees the fight playing out. Had Jones not ducked out the last time?
I know there's some tainted supplements out there, but if you do it repeatedly, the first time, if it's tainted supplement, whatever, they look into it, you're all good. Fair enough. But if you're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 times and they're still letting you fight in a promotion, you're a pretty sick individual, in my opinion.
With a gun to my head, I would have said John Jones would beat him right now, Cormier claimed. That Tom was never pushed until the championship rounds. After the 3rd round, you felt I needed to get up from that stool. Tom has not gotten off the stool for a 3rd round. You needed to fight Tom now that he didn't have that experience. Cormier may be calling Jones a quitter on the one hand, but his analysis of Aspinall is based on reality. Aspinall has plowed his way through the heavyweight division, frequently stopping opponents before the judges could get comfortable. However, his speed and domination mean that He has never been strained, nor has he had to swim into the deep waters where Jones lives. Cormier and many other veterans think that Aspinall's lack of championship experience is still the most significant.
It's Aspinall's fight. I mean, we've been talking to this kid forever about it, and it's his fight. Listen, you can't make people fight. If John doesn't want to fight, you can't make him fight. We can try to make him fight. We can throw things at him that inspire him to want to fight, but we'll figure it out.
Nonetheless, the tide has changed. Aspinall isn't just a raw possibility anymore. He's a winner. He's the one holding the belt. He will lead UFC's 250th Independence Anniversary celebration on the White House lawn. No longer the Guardian, he's the rival, Dana White, who has been manipulating from the sides. Finally pulled back the veil during the UFC 316 post-fight news conference. After months of Jones teasing retirement, fleeing to Thailand, and posting bizarre messages about an Anu, GOAT, and greatness, White made it plain Jones had accepted to the fight. This was not a speculative matching attempt. The UFC made the offer. Jones orally confirmed that it was on. Then, suddenly, it wasn't. I've been saying that from the beginning. Jon Jones agreed to a fight. Jon Jones was offered the deal and accepted it. Jon agreed to fight Tom. Yes, White added, I guarantee this fight will happen.
Jon Jones is retired.
Yep.
But if he never steps into the cage with you and you two never fight, what do you think that does for his legacy, but also for your legacy? Is it possible for you to be the best and be the greatest without beating him?
That's someone else's opinion, to be honest. It doesn't really matter to me.
That sort of stuff doesn't bother
No,
you, as long
doesn't
as
bother
you're
me.
fighting the people
I can
that are
only
in front of you.
I can only control what I can control.
White's commitment has stayed unwavering. Despite Jones's social media posts suggesting otherwise, fans were whipped. Jones was hinting retirement one week, disparaging possible opponents the next, and criticizing the UFC as a whole. But now that the White House card is in play and the USADA box has been checked, White has every reason to be positive. The Jones-Aspinall fight is not over. It has been revived and upgraded. One important reason White isn't emphasizing Jones' retirement announcement is simple. He had seen it before. Khabib said it. GSP said it. Even Cormier stated it.
And the fans shouldn't even have to make a petition to strip Jon Jones of the belt. That just shows you how dumb the UFC matchmaking is, especially when it comes to Jon Jones and all the way that the UFC operates around Jon Jones. The way that Jon Jones has Dana and the organization by the nuts is crazy.
But unless the UFC makes it public, it means nothing. Fighters flee in tears, only to return under the proper limelight, and there's no bigger spotlight than Washington, D.C. on July 4th, 2026, with the stars and stripes floating above. Jones is notorious for chasing legacy events, and fighting in the White House is the pinnacle. After dominating the light heavyweight division following his traumatic exit and return as a heavyweight king, this is the last exclamation point he's been looking for. His pursuit of Francis Ngannou looks to be more of a noise now. Ngannou has walked away, and Dana White has mentioned that he is unlikely to return. That leaves Jones with only one fight that makes sense, makes history, and creates revenue. Thomas Aspinall.
Going to be those people
wasted a part of his life in the UFC.
There's going to be those people that'll say that Jon Jones is his own worst enemy, and Tom Aspinall's lucky that Jon got in his own way.
I just hope it stops. Like, I hope, okay, this is it. He's going to really learn his lesson this time and no more. Dude, and again, we have no idea the pressure of being Jon Jones and a celebrity. Like, it's got to be insane. There's been so many great Jon Jones moments inside the cage.
Jones, however, signifies something else, something metaphorical. It's the man who has kept Aspinall in confusion. The man who took the championship hostage and retired rather than risk it if that fight takes place right now. It will be about more than just belts and rankings. It's all about approval. Aspinall will finally get his chance to show that he not only deserved to be champion, but that he could defeat the man everyone thought was unbeatable, Cormier. Like the fans, knows what is at risk. That is what makes his comments so insightful. His reasoning, Jones' experience versus Aspinall's inexperience, makes sense. But his continuous usage of the word quit defies his own prognosis. Cormier is not only attacking Jones, he is exposing him. Jones quit. Cormier stated bluntly, he didn't want the fight. All that talk about legacy and greatness disappears when you choose comfort over struggle.
Is Jon Jones scared to fight you?
Yes. Jon is conning
the public. The fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year.
Is that fight fucking happening?
The UFC are saying that it's going to happen. I think it's down to him and Dana.
Dana loves John Jones.
He's trying to grease up his ego a little.
Jones walked away, whether out of fear, planning, or exhaustion. He left the sport with Aspinall on his doorstep, crown unclaimed. But with the White House fight confirmed and preparation started, he has nowhere to hide. The comeback story no longer revolves entirely around glory. It's all about responsibility. White sees it as a done deal until something awful happens, unless we speak up. Don't believe any of this other stuff. John agreed to fight Tom. Fact. So now all eyes are on Washington. UFC 300 was a huge show. UFC 200 was historic. But is something else entirely, a global sporting event on the White House grounds. With MMA's most decorated fighter taking on the sport's most hopeful young monarch. It's heritage versus momentum, knowledge versus hunger, and the old guard versus the next generation.
He's not stepping up and fighting yet, he's let the whole MMA fan base down. I couldn't have somebody else saying that they're going to beat me and not at least fight them. And then if I lose, at least I tried my best. There's a lot of politics in there in the UFC at the top levels, and it's just like out of my hands, so there's nothing I can really do about it.
Aspinall will not have a tune-up. He won't have a warm-up. He's starting his campaign with the toughest fight possible, and he's enjoying it. There is no dodging, delaying, or making excuses. He has accepted the fight. He's planning as if this is the most important time of his life, and it is. So, do you think it happens? Please share your views below and subscribe for future updates.